Hello there, and welcome back to an episode of Britain Suffers, presented by Zurgui. I hope I pronounced this correctly. And he will show what damage the 20-pounder in general can do. First of all, I really love the look on the FE4 202, and yeah, we will see then a little bit more action later on. The beginning of the replay actually allows me to talk here about one change, and that is that the FE4 202, the Carnarvon, the Centurion Mark III, the Centurion Action 10, and the STRV 81, the RB 52, have gone up from 6.7 to 7.0. And a lot of people kind of said that this is now the death strike to Britain, etc. And I shall talk about this. And yeah, here I fulfill your wish. What do I think about this change? Now, first of all, we have to look at it from various different perspectives. There are hardcore Britain fans that don't really accept any sort of argument, no matter what it is. Those are the tier boos. They are idiots. Then there are also people that are against Britain and regarding whatever you think about ships, planes, tanks. And especially if they are hardcore German tech tree fans, they are wearaboos. They're also idiots. And the fact is that I want to have a little bit of an objective look at those tanks. Now, I think that the up tier was more than necessary because I think that the 20-pounder is a very lethal weapon, and especially if you have 5 tanks potentially in one lineup that have this weapon system that just combines a very good stabilizer, a very good reload for the caliber of gun, and a PDS with the penetration that it has. That is just difficult to sell to all other nations that don't have a stabilizer, don't have a PDS, and don't have that reload on guns that can be said to be equal. That is one side of the argumentation. The other side being, Britain suffers. And there are actually valid points to this simple statement that sounds at first like an exaggeration. Fact are that the low tier British tank, the overwhelming majority, don't have access to APHE, so they very rarely just shoot at an enemy tank from the front and the side and one-shot it. It very often takes several shots, whereas then they get just deleted with one shot in return. They have terrible reverse gear, and that just makes for a nasty combination, especially if you go up the ranks. And especially at rank 3 and 4, that can be nasty. However, if you then also look at later higher tiers, there is just a generous lack of mobility. Even though in the next patch we get a bit more, even though we have the Roykart Mark 1D and the Roykart 105 and the Vickers Mark 7, but they just don't really bring the balance to the MBT series like the Chieftains and the Challengers. So Britain has its fair share of disadvantages. One massive advantage that is also tied together with talking about Britain is that Britain is literally tied together with the Americans, so they, aside from mixed battles, never face them. That kind of negates the disadvantages that, or the absolute advantages that the Americans have with the amount of tanks that they can bring to the battlefield, the CAS, etc. So here, now he is in the Carnarvon, and that brings us to the first snapshot of the day. That was the German Premium M47G. He previously disabled the T44-100, just goes right into the smoke and ends its existence right there. Please pay attention also to the left hand side of the screen, because for a very brief moment we actually can see the name tag of a Tiger 2 that Mr. Z actually didn't see right there, but he notices him roundabout now when he just looks in its direction. So yeah, both didn't see each other, but the British tank was just faster. Nice action right there. So where do I stand with this? It is true that Britain as a tank nation has its fair share of disadvantages, but that doesn't really allow for one battle rating to be kind of overbuffed or favored. And I always had the feeling when the British tanks first came into War Thunder, I always thought that the 20 pounder is a very good weapon, especially later on when the stabilizer came on and we saw some improvements to how Amorex exploded, etc. etc. A little bit of the advantage of a stabilizer and the addition of an actual reverse gear is this shot, where he bounces the long 88, gets the shot in return with no issue, and then punches an APDS round straight through the upper frontal glacis of the target 2 hull, which is one of the toughest armor plates that you can think of at this battle rating. And he goes through it like a hot knife through butter. Yeah, I also realized there was a non-penetration right at the start. So Mr. Z goes here into A and decaps it while working on this Jagdpanzer 4.5 for his 5th kill in this tank and his 6th kill overall. So I think that this is long overdue, this change, but it also kind of leaves the former British 6.7 lineup in tatters, because the FV4 005, aka the shit barn or the doom cannon, together with the tortoise, don't really make for a very reliable lineup. And it also kind of rips apart here the flavor. On the other hand, other nations still don't have anything like that for many battle rating steps to come. When will the French get their first stabilizer? When will the Americans get their first APDS round? All those questions, you know, and you can ask the same question for all the nations. So you can just think about, for example, the Leopard 1 or Leopard 1 is a full battle rating higher, or was a full battle rating higher than the British former 6.7 lineup, and still didn't have a stabilizer. And very often people in those tanks found it easier to artificially up tier the 20 pounder full battle rating to then farm the high tier MBTs that were just easier to kill with the prominent frontal ammo rack, etc. etc. So, oh, by the way, that lag I have no explanation for, because that shot didn't go off, as you can see with the red barrel, and yeah, then he one-shots the T-34-100. And that is already 11 kills and the double ace alone in this tank. He didn't see the Tiger 2P here in the factory building, but bounces a shot of it anyway after deleting the Su-152 again through the concrete fence, which is absurd aiming. I have no idea. Another long 88 bounce, and he's safe in cover. What a showcase of the Carnarvon. And also, one further thing is, the repair costs didn't balance jack shit, Gaijin. And I don't think that you should balance it with an economical drawback, because I don't know what quite the repair costs were. At the moment for the Carnarvon we have a repair cost of nearly 20k, so that's still absurdly high. There is so much to talk about. I understand the frustration with Britain. I have suffered through this myself when grinding through Britain, and I found it really unfair. Also, please think about that this was me playing in the dark ages of Amorex going black and not exploding. Do you remember those times? Oh yeah, evil times. I really like here that he ignores the ZSU 37 and range fire, or looks for the ASU 85 in the bush with the machine gun, and then gets his first kill assist on it. Also, I like his decision to leave A here alone, and kind of noticing that there is nearly no tank in the middle of the map, and B is in great danger of getting overrun. He could stay here and just farm enemy tanks. He also noticed that he had still to deal with the ZSU 37, so that's a nice kind of situation awareness thing. And yeah, he probably could have just driven out there and nuked this guy, but he just waited till that guy is distracted by his teammate and then having a very easy shot. By the way, you saw here some of the lags and some of the alignment problems of the gun sight with the aiming reticle. The replay is a fair weeks old, I guess, and that will always screw around with the replay files. That was not the case when I first watched that video. And yeah, also there might be the possibility that he has enabled the historical gun sight, where then you look through a different part of the tank and not the gun barrel itself when you go into the gunner's view. Just a few things right there. And can I please have situations like these more often, where I can use the free binoculars and then just simply delete a BMP-1? And B has not even fallen. And where would now you look? I would look there, and so did he. And that was just a beautiful working down the crew here of the the SU-100P. And a well-deserved triple kill with this. No, triple ace, sorry. A well-deserved triple ace with this tank alone for overall 16 kills. And yeah, he wants to actually now help his teammate. He sees some action on the mini-map. He sees the smoke, etc. But his teammate has dealt with the threat, which I think was Aquilian. He looks around and sees the track of the T-44-100 and just does the appropriate maneuver and watch the shot. Yeah, that was nasty. Driver and gunner. That's just delaying the inevitable. So, beautiful kill number 17. Just situation awareness at its finest. There might be the chance I might have not seen that guy coming around the corner while the artillery strike was going on. What I definitely would have also seen is B getting decapped, and Mr. Z just reacts instantaneously, and we can see where the T-44 is, but he doesn't know. He looks at the corner, then sees that nobody's there, and he hears the T-44, and beautiful crew knockout with the APDS round here. And finally, he is in a well-deserved cap after 18 kills. What a match. It looked so smooth. It looked so normal, you know, the way that he plays it. And that is the power of the 20-pounder, of the stabilizer, the APDS, and in the case of the Malvern, the trolley bouncy armor. And that is also well deserved. A hull break on that ZSU 37 for kill number 19. Rarely have I ever seen those kill numbers even in low tier matches. Hell, even in arcade. And what a great match. Again, showcasing how good those tanks are. And if you invest a little bit of money into War Thunder, well, you can have 5 of tanks carrying this weapon system. So again, to quickly recap, Britain has disadvantages. The former British Holy Land was 6.7. It has been battle rating increased to 7.0, but it's still more than capable of holding itself. Because the gap to other nations' stabilized APDS slinging tanks is still very large. And you still can, you know, get down tiers to club some 6.0 tanks, which happens still often enough. Sadly, Mr. Z gets denied here the quadruple ace because he just looked into the wrong spawn at the end of the game. But what a match! And that was awesome. Let's have a quick look at the post-battle results. And yeah, 90,000 civilians for 1 cap, 1 assist and 19 kills and only 5,774 RP. That is because he is a free-to-play player, but even with a premium account, those tech tree tanks just, they don't make you rich. And remember, he had died once, so the profit is a bit lower, which is painful, so it is a mere 75,000 civilians. But still, great result and very well played and a well-deserved heavy metal hero, and also a very well-deserved first place in the team. Zurgui, thank you for sending in this very well played replay. I enjoyed watching it, and for all of you out there, I hope you enjoyed it as well, and let us have a civilized discussion in the comment section down below. And I'm looking forward to read all your comments, believe it or not, and also to see your likes and subscriptions to these channels. And that's it for me today, so we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.